When Mbappe did that run, I was on my feet. When the ball got cleared, I was on the floor. I'm watching a man, I'm saying, like, in that moment, I'm seeing him dribble, and I'm going, if he does the mad thing right now, I'm on the street.
For his fourth goal.
Yeah, I'm on the fourth goal. I'm on the street.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Rematch. It's your host, Lias, and today I am joined by two fantastic guests, James and Karel. We're here for the World Cup Final 2022, arguably the greatest game of the modern era. Gonna get into all the details, but first and foremost, my guys, how you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me back. And generally, this is my favourite game ever.
Really?
So, yeah, if it wasn't going to be an Arsenal game, this is the one I'd want to talk about.
Karel?
No, I'm good. Thanks for having me on. First time here, debut. Yeah, I love this game as well. I've never felt, like, as a neutral, it's very rarely I feel like exhilarated by a match, but this was one of them for sure.
I'm under a little bit of pressure here because normally I can just talk about the game. No one interrupts me, but low-key, I'm afraid I slip up on one minor little detail here. This guy right here is going to interrupt me. Hold on a minute. It wasn't Pavard like that. But guys, let's talk about this game and the context that kind of built into it, because as James said, I think this probably is my favorite game as well too. For most neutrals going into this game, it was the one everyone wanted to see. Argentina and Lionel Messi seemingly destined for the crowning moment of his career. France on a journey to try and get something that hadn't been done since, the 50s or 60s, with Brazil, reigning champions, winning back-to-back. This game almost had everything, even in the build-up. And when we look at their journeys, Argentina losing that first game to Saudi Arabia, maybe a lot of people discounting them before a second ball was even kicked, and that game against Mexico, where Messi had his moments, then the Netherlands, then Croatia. It just seemed like this team was growing and growing and growing, whereas France, who were missing a lot of players going into this tournament, Pogba, Kante, and Benzema, kind of, again, just emerged as the team to be and just got about their business, whether it was England, the shock package in Morocco. They, again, found themselves in the final. So going into this, I'd love to know, was there a clear favorite in your mind? Was there a team that you thought going into this game was the team to beat?
Start with me. No, I don't remember feeling like there was a clear favourite. I knew who I wanted to win, and it was because of the Messi storyline.
So you were on Argentina's side?
Yeah, and I was on Messi's side.
Yeah,
I was on Emi Martinez's side. But yeah, but I don't remember there being a favourite. Did you feel like there was, Karel?
I think when I look at both teams, like you say, going into the World Cup, I think everyone was fairly certain Argentina should be in the final, based on that crazy undefeated run they had. Obviously, was ended in the first game. So I would say I thought they were the favourites, but then the way I looked at this match was that the two best players of the World Cup were playing against each other. I think Mbappe, what he showed to drag France through, and Messi did. I was just thinking they're going to go head to head, and they did go head to head in the end, but that's how I felt about it. I didn't really think once, like, the way Argentina went through against Netherlands wasn't like the most convincing. Obviously they played well against Croatia, and then France beating England, Morocco. It was. I didn't feel like anyone was
was well set up.
Yeah.
When we look at the Argentina team, it wasn't the most naturally talented team in terms of individuals when you compare it to former Argentina sides that Messi had. You didn't have Aguero anymore. You didn't have Higuain. You didn't have, it wasn't the greatest version of Di Maria anymore. And yet this team, for the first time in Messi's Argentina career, since maybe 2006, felt like the most unified and balanced side that he had. What do you guys kind of put that down to? Is it the manager, Lionel Scaloni? Is it almost a group of players that grew up idolizing Messi, almost wanting to win for him? What do you think made this Argentina special compared to the previous editions of it?
There was a clip about that in the Copa the year before, where, like, it was behind closed doors and they were talking about, like, Messi hasn't won anything yet, like, we need to win this one for him. But then also he was saying, like, win it for everyone's families back home. So I think there was a togetherness, and I would say, as much as the manager did a lot as well, and obviously having been in the setup before, he's worked with a lot of the players, but with the generation and how it progressed, I think this team didn't have to be as top heavy as it had been before, because the questions were, how do you get Higuain, Tevez, Aguero, Dybala, like, all these names, they have to play, and then they were neglecting their midfield and backline. Whereas it felt like with this squad, you could build from the back. You've got an Otamendi, you've got a Romero, you've got Alessandro, you've got McAllister, you've got Enzo, like De Paul. That's a solid base to have. Now, if you've got your Messi, your Alvarez's, Lautaro's, which is Di Maria, less firepower than before, but because you've got more structure, I think it allowed Messi to flourish more, especially in his later years.
Yeah, I think he platformed the players better, because when you look at that midfield, because Enzo worked his way into the team, didn't he? That's kind of his breakout tournament. Obviously, people knew about
himself and Alvarez. They didn't start the final. I think it was Gomez and it was someone else. Lautaro who started it, and they kind of worked their way into the team.
Yeah, and I just had a random look at sort of Messi's sort of heat map and average positions for that final. Drifts to the right, but you've got De Paul there, he's an out-and-out central midfielder, but could go to that right-hand side and be a bit of a channel runner at times. It's just good profiling and platforming. Like, if you've got Lionel Messi, my word, you build the team around him. And I know sometimes you say, no, it's the team first, but this is the greatest of all time for me. And he just got better and better as the tournament went on. But I think he just platformed the players really well, the manager.
I don't think before Scaloni came in, I don't think they really ever built the team around him. I think he was the center point of the team, and whichever way the team or his performance would go, the team would go along with it for the most part. But I feel like this tournament, which I must admit I didn't watch all their like Copa games. I watched the final and I thought they looked really good. But here it felt like, right, we're putting the players around you that are going to allow you, especially at what would have been 37?
No, at that point, maybe 34.
34, sorry. Yeah. At 34 years of age, like, rest your legs where you need to. We'll put your bodyguard, the ball around you.
Yeah.
Like, they'll work when you get the ball come alive. And that's why we get those moments where it's not Messi of old running 50 yards, taking on 4 players, which you would had to in the past. No, now it's like, okay, we give you 30 yards out, shift, find a pass, take a shot. And I feel like Messi looked at his most comfortable at a major tournament here than in previous years.
I'd have to agree. We get into this game, and although I think all three of us agree that before a ball is kicked, this is a pretty even matchup, from the word go, this was anything but even. Argentina dominate this game for the first 45 minutes in a way I'm not sure any World Cup ever has been dominated in the final. I mean, I like to think I watch back a lot of old games, and I was texting my dad at the time as well too, who's been watching, I think his first World Cup was 74, and he was telling me, I can't remember a World Cup final this dominant. Like, I can't remember a World Cup final this one-sided, and it really did feel that way. And Argentina get their deserved lead through Di Maria when he goes down for a penalty, Dembele dragging him down, and who else but Lionel Messi, who failed to score in the World Cup final 8 years prior, but gets a bit of redemption in this game, sending Argentina 1-0.
Yeah, it was a weird one because it was actually so one-sided to a point of people actually arguing, because we've all said it's one of our, it's my favourite game. I think we've all agreed it's our favourite game. Some people argue against it, going, no, it's overrated because actually nothing happened until the 80th minute.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, but when you look at the stage, some of the football they played, that second goal in particular, to do it on that stage and everything that happened after, yeah, sure, France came alive, from that Mbappe penalty, but you're right, it started with dominance and control from Argentina, and the early, first half subs from France. That tells you that manager's not just thinking, all right, we're not in it, we need to regroup. He's actually just not happy with the players out there in itself. So you rarely see that, and we've seen finals like Spain, Netherlands, where it takes an extra time winner, or Germany as well, 1-0 against
But
Argentina.
I think most World Cup finals, if you think about it, maybe to give them credit, France, Croatia in 2018, even though that game, I think it went into halftime 1-1 or 2-1 up for France. It was a lot closer, but you look at most World Cup finals, 2006 was a 1-1 going into penalties. Maybe 98, France-Brazil is maybe the last time you can think back to a final that one-sided between two teams. But for the most part, James, you're absolutely right. These are cagey affairs.
It's a World Cup final, I'm nervous watching, and I had nothing in it other than, I quite like Messi. Like, how are they feeling? So of course there's a degree of feeling quite, tense and nervous about it, and that's what I love about the second goal so much. And sorry if I've jumped ahead a bit there, but it's a goal that it looked so free-flowing, it looked so relaxed, it's all executed, the weight of pass, the skill from Messi, the finish from Di Maria. So Argentina were enjoying themselves, which is quite rare to say about a final that big.
I think they smelt blood like early. I think with the penalty, because I feel like especially a final, it's going to be cagey until something like lights up the game. And I think getting a penalty that early and scoring, you think, okay, what's their natural reaction going to be? Let's try and get back in the game. Were they even ready to push at that point? And I think it was a like from the players on the pitch, I don't know if it was a tactical decision, but that early part of the game was like soul destroying for the French players. Like it, and at that point, even though it was 1 and 2, I'm thinking this could be 4, 5, 6s, and we wouldn't bat an eyelid if we were talking about it today, saying, yeah, they beat France 6-0 in the final.
I think they caught them off guard. Honestly, I think that's really what it came. It's like a boxing match, and the guy just comes out and punches you in the face and just completely shocks you for the remainder of the interval. I have to say too, that Argentina side felt like they were growing round by round by round. It was really the true representation of a team aging like fine wine as the tournament got on, and they really peaked right when they had to in that final. And I think it all culminated in one of the most dominant 45 minutes we have seen at a World Cup final. But when I look at that penalty in particular, where do you stand on that, Karel? Penalty, no penalty? It's 4 years on, of course, but is it a bit soft in that moment?
I think, well, what's the politically correct answer that all the pundits say? I've seen them given. But it's like, if it's not given, are we sitting here today talking about the penalty that never was? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because there's an argument you can make that Di Maria plays for it, but then the contact's there. So I don't begrudge the referee for giving it. I probably would have wanted it. So I would say yes, but I feel like it's on the softer side, and I wouldn't have minded if it wasn't given.
Yeah, it's a bit like Dembele, clumsy, he's an attacker. Di Maria is experienced in those situations. He's never been the hardest to kind of get to ground. We look at that second goal, though. You correctly said it, James. Like one of the best moves that we have seen in terms of everybody involved, movement off the ball. There's that cute little Messi flick around the corner, and then that finish from Di Maria. I think he even quoted it saying, "I took inspiration from Ozil with the bounce finish." When you look at that move right there, what's your thought process? 2-0 up for Argentina after what? When did he score the goal? 30 or so minutes?
Yeah, 36 minutes.
36 minutes. 2-0 up Argentina. At that point, is it like, wow, game over, game done?
Yeah, I love the run off the ball from McAllister as well, because I think he gives the ball to Messi and then runs beyond, and that's when a team's really feeling themselves, when they're just like, yeah, central midfield is going to bomb beyond everyone, because they, like you said, smell blood. They can see a space, they're going to attack it, and there's something poetic about it being Di Maria as well, because he's been just what a career he's had.
Missed the final in 2014 as well.
I remember you and Cam's talking about Di Maria, and I was like, wow, what a career this guy had. And I don't know why, maybe sometimes things stick in your head, like the 1 year at Man United. I don't know. And so it kind of almost pours a bit of cold water on what is an unbelievable career and an unbelievable player. So him getting that moment was amazing. And that finish, I'm glad he said it was inspired by Ozil, because actually on rewatch, I've seen that before. But there's something about like that Messi flick. Does it look easy? I don't know, but he just...
I think he makes it look easier than it is.
That's it.
Yeah. And that is Messi at the end of the day. He makes everything look easier than it is.
I think everything in that move looks easier than it is. From the flick to the right way of pass to McAllister, and even McAllister just getting that right so that Di Maria doesn't have to take a touch or do much. Like, well, there's not much work for him to do, but at that point, it's just, I don't know, it's really, really well executed, and I don't think it's as easy as it looks.
I think it's like, from McAllister, it's really good, I would say, self-awareness and spatial awareness, where it's like, you actually realistically, he's bearing down on goal, but you understand in that scenario, I'm not going to be able to get to goal. Because Di Maria, he's probably a bit wide for someone to think like, oh, let me actually pass him the ball. But it's like, he recognises whoever that is running there, it's probably an attacker, it's probably Di Maria. He's best positioned to do that. So I really like that goal for that, like, that understanding, because too many times, especially in modern football, we'll watch a player in that scenario try and take another touch, either shoot or realise the defender's there, try and cut back.
And those are the margins. Most players maybe would do take a touch in that instance, and it's like, oh, okay, a move that could have been something didn't end up happening. But that's what, there's a bit of perfection in the simplicity, you know what I mean?
My brain's playing tricks on me. He doesn't take a touch, does he, Di Maria?
I don't believe he
takes
does.
it first time.
I believe he takes it first time.
Yeah, it makes it even better.
Yeah,
I think Di Maria as well too. Like you said, if you look back at every single Argentina moment from the past 15 years, almost since Messi made his debut, Di Maria is at the heart of it, right next to him, right? You got the Olympic final against, was it Nigeria? He scores the winner. You got the Copa America final. He scores the winner against Brazil. You got this game where he wins a penalty and then scores. And then you even got the Finalissima against Italy where he scores again. He is just at the heart of every single big Argentina moment Messi has had. And when you talk about Robin to someone's Batman. Obviously, he's done it throughout his career, whether it was Cristiano at Real Madrid, whether it was Neymar and Mbappe at PSG, whether it's for Messi. Like, this guy, I find so not even undervalued, I feel, when we talk about the greatest players of their generation. I feel like he has to be right up there, because when it comes to the big moments, who else but Angel Di Maria?
And a stupidly versatile player. Like, I remember Ancelotti saying, do you want to be our almost box-to-box left of the midfield?
Oh my God, he's the man of the match in the Champions League final in midfield.
So
unbelievable. And then at United, they saw him more as like a right winger, could drift onto his left foot. But then in this final, he's playing, out of possession. They're 4-4-2, and he's tucking in, having to put in the hard yards. We talk about Messi being 34. How old was Di Maria in that final?
He's probably around the same.
Yeah,
and he runs, man.
Unbelievable player.
Yeah. Let's talk about the substitutions in the first half, because I think in the moment, no one really makes much of it. In fact, when he made those subs, I was almost thinking, it's just damage limitation now, right? He's looking at, Giroud, and he's looking at Dembele. He's thinking, Giroud was not in the game whatsoever, and Dembele was having an absolutely horrid time of it, right? Every attack seemed to be coming down his side. Yeah. Every time he got the ball, it felt like nothing was coming out of it, and it was no surprise. And at that moment, right, and we'll talk about Dembele a little further on, because I find what went on to happen for him absolutely staggering. But it almost felt like in that moment when Dembele came off, that was it for his career. I'm not going to lie. As a huge Dembele fan growing up, coming through at Rennes and then Dortmund, I had so much stock in this guy. When he gets hooked off before halftime at a World Cup, I almost just looked at Cam, who I was with at the time, and thought, that's it for him. That's done. Dembele is finished in terms of this prospect of that is it. But in that moment, taking him and Giroud off for Thuram and Kolo Muani, is anybody making anything of that, or is it really just a case of, Deschamps is just trying to keep the score down now, get runners on the pitch?
I thought they were shell-shocked.
Yeah.
He's probably thrown his toys out the pram a little bit and just said, you know what, I'm going to make it up. Because even if you look at the minute, 41st minute.
He didn't even wait for 4 more minutes till halftime.
So you're nearly there at halftime. You might as well just get into the changing room, look at everyone in their eyes, see who's ready to play and who's not. But I think he could smell it from a distance. And with Dembele, it's an interesting one, because even in 2018, he trusted him to start.
Yeah, he started the tournament
and be one of the his starting players at the World Cup, and against, I think it was Australia, the opening game, didn't do much of anything. That's how Matuidi ended up being the left midfielder, and it's like it always felt like with Dembele that he wouldn't arrive in a front shirt, and this was like the final nail in the coffin, like you say. It was just like, okay, where do you go from here now?
Yeah.
Like, in front of the world, however many billion people are watching this final now, you've just 41 minutes, and all you've got to show for it is giving away a penalty and looking lost on defense when everyone's there's waves of Argentinian attacks coming in. So I felt for him in that moment. It's probably a lonely place to be.
100%.
But what surprised the Giroud one did surprise me, even though he wasn't in the game.
Yeah.
But knowing how much Deschamps rates him and constantly played him, whether he scored or didn't score.
Yeah.
That was the one that I went, I think you've given up here, actually, because this early you're taking off Giroud.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Was it? You talk about the 41st minute, which you're right, that's such a weird time, because if anything, it's like, see it out, don't disrupt the team, just see it out, get to the half time and make your changes. But I think the minute, and also the particular subs, because I've just seen, so Kingsley Coman comes on in the 17th.
Yeah, this one is Thuram and Kolo Muani. Yeah.
So that first World Cups for both, I believe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a statement almost in in the same way McAllister and Enzo brought a degree of youthful energy and a degree of a devil may care, whatever.
Yeah.
I know, of course, everyone feels the pressure of the Champions League, World Cup final, like we were just saying. But maybe there's a degree of you kids, go just enjoy it. Because these guys aren't even in it. Maybe there's just a degree of a roll of the dice. It's just a complete... I can't imagine Argentina were particularly prepared for it. I don't know if it even changed the game much, to be honest.
Not at that moment, yeah, definitely not, yeah.
I think it's interesting, because even when you look at the, until I looked at the squad list and the subs and everything, I was I didn't realise how weak the squad was, in the forward areas. So I was really and truly, who else are you going to bring on? I guess, it could have been Coleman instead of Kolo Muani or what. But really and truly, they're the only 3 players you can bring on and think they can make somewhat of a difference.
I mean, Kolo Muani was a late inclusion to the France team because Benzema pulled out last minute, and Kolo Muani was effectively his replacement. He wasn't part of the original 23 or 26 man squad.
I think did Nkunku get injured as well?
I think he might have as well.
He did as well. I think he got called in and got injured. Like, you just seem like a wave of players.
100%. France lost so many players in those weeks ahead of the World Cup. Like the core of that team in the last Euros completely decimated in Kante, Benzema, and Pogba. And then in Nkunku,
Yeah, that's why I feel like I can't really look at it as. I know, like, further into the game, they do affect, like, negatively and positively. But it's like, at that moment in time, I struggle to look at it as a change that's like anything other than
just felt like desperation.
Defeatist. It was just defeatist.
Yeah.
There was nothing, like, in hindsight. Like, if they win the game, I'm sure Deschamps got a great story as to why he did it. But, like, it just felt like a nothing change just to show the fans and show everyone that he's not accepting what's in front of him. But
sometimes that's enough, though. Because I don't think it would have been a like a defeatist type substitution, because it's only 2-0. It's not, maybe at 3-0, but I think there's a degree of, like, just even sending a message to the players, like, I'm willing to make 2 changes in the 41st minute because that, and the players think, well, we've got a message coming at half time here.
Yeah.
I don't know, sometimes that can be enough.
And that message at halftime came from Kylian Mbappé. I don't know if you guys have seen the halftime locker room videos that have emerged from that World Cup final, but Kylian Mbappé, at that point, not the captain yet. Lloris is still holding the armband. Griezmann and Giroud, I'm sure, are second in command. But Kylian Mbappé takes remarkable leadership in that moment. And if you listen to his halftime speech, he's almost saying, "Guys, we're playing in a World Cup final here. Like, enjoy yourselves. Like, let's play the game. Like, don't let the opportunity basically take you guys over. We still got 45 minutes left to play." In that moment right there, is there anything Deschamps can even say, or is it kind of just like, you guys got to take the responsibility in that moment? You guys got to get yourself back into this game.
I think you leave it to someone like Mbappe, who played in the World Cup final, has won a World Cup final, and probably even he's already played in his first Champions League final and lost that. So he's seen both sides of how a final feels, and you see it. He takes over the mantle from, like, Pogba in 2018, where you see his speeches and it's galvanizing the team. And I think in that moment, we know what Mbappe is like, and it's like, I'm not beaten until I'm beaten. I want all the 10 players that are with me and all you guys on the bench to feel the exact same way as me. Because if I had that half, it's very easy to sit there and go, let's just get through the next 45. It's already gone. Like, let's see what happens. 4 years' time, I might still be young enough to go again. But yeah, Mbappe was not going to leave that on the table. And that's why I'll always have admiration and respect for him, especially in the France shirt, because there's seldom a time you watch him and say, like, he's not giving his all, or he's not stepped up, even after. And you got to remember, this World Cup's off the back of the year prior, that disaster class he had against Switzerland in the Euro, where everything was on his head. And he's man enough in that moment to step up and say, do you know what? Like, let's do this, boys. Like, I failed before. You've seen me fail in front of everyone. Like, but let's go out trying.
100%. I think it's easier said than done now, because you look at it 2-0 down at that moment. It's like, damn, man, it feels over. So you can talk is almost cheap, but we go into that second half and the game starts to feel a little more even. Although Argentina still feel very, very comfortable. I think the 2 subs, credit to them, right? Kolo Muani and Thuram, because I think they're going to be remembered for different reasons due to what happened in the game. But I do think their energy brought something to France, because like you said, like, they are younger, they are hungrier, the game is practically over in their eyes. There's nothing to lose, right? And it does feel like France have a little bit more bite to them. Coman ends up coming into the game as well too. But is there still any point before the first Mbappe goal where you think to yourself, ooh, one goal could change, like, oh, there could be a goal in this for France, or, oh, this game does feel like it's on a knife edge? Or were you guys pretty confident up until the Mbappe goal that this was still going one direction?
No, because, like, that's what makes football the best game in the world for me. Like, I think there's very few sports where, I'm thinking F1, where, like, if an engine blows, like, that can change things, but generally, like, in football, something out of nothing, you get the same amount of points for the ball going off the back of the goalkeeper's head and sort of trickling over the line as you do scoring from 30 yards. Anything can happen. You can have 5% of the ball and score a goal. So I was watching it thinking, it has to be Messi's day. That's all I had in this. Like, surely Messi's going to walk away with history here.
Yeah.
And so I was feeling tense. And I think you're just watching with people, like, it's such an extraordinary occasion because people around me who've never rewatched football, they're all so into this. Like, that's how captivating the final was. And I don't know, I just remember feeling like anything, just one moment, and this just blows this whole final up. And I think it's because you're not used to watching these teams week in, week out, where you might see a Mourinho side and go, they can see this out. You don't really know a lot about these teams, especially at tournament level, at this pressure level. So to answer your question, sorry to go off on a tangent, but to answer your question, I definitely felt like one moment and this whole thing blows open. Not to the level it did, because it became then just something extraordinary.
Yeah.
But I definitely thought if France can get one back, this becomes tense.
I don't think if my memory serves correctly, I don't think too much happened France's way going forward before like the game shifts.
I feel the exact way, yeah.
What I noticed was, especially now when you look at the subs in hindsight, is that Thuram was actually just causing them issues, because not only is he physical, he could also run in behind. So it was just like making, because if you got Giroud, you know he's going to stand in front of you and wait for the ball, and those opportunities weren't coming. But if you got a Thuram, he's like, he might take you into a channel, he might bring you short, he might just moving and making that
chaos.
Keeping that the defense active and keeping them thinking. And I think that's what gave me a little bit of hope to say, okay, if something does happen, we could have a game on our hands. But I can't really say until it happened that I didn't feel anything other than like it was a bit pedestrian for like Argentina. I think if anything, it was like they might have looked at it and said, we've won the game.
Yeah.
And like we've got these guys at bay because they're not really offering us much, but hey.
But that's why some people argue, no, you're overrating this final. Like some people saying it wasn't as good as you remember just because it had the drama. But okay, I just push back on that narrative personally. Yeah, there might have been a bit of a lull. I agree. It wasn't like France weren't peppering the Martinez goal. Watching the highlights, we were just saying, outside of the two goals and the Colomboani moment, which we'll talk about, there wasn't really that much coming, but I don't know, sometimes just the tension of a game, isn't it?
But I would say that, like, in France's defence, like, as we've even seen last year in this, I almost said this year, last year, we have PSG Inter, right, in the final. They hit them with some early blows, but Inter have nothing to combat it, and the game gets completely out of hand. And then we say, okay, so it was an interesting Champions League final to watch. Probably not going to go down as one of the best because it's so one-sided. Whereas like France did enough, whether it's in attitude or tweaks, to stay in the game long enough to do what they do to give us that spike. Because yes, like you can have a game like, but I'm referencing a lot of Champions League, but like you can have a game like Barcelona Inter, right, which is like from minute one, it's like whoa. But like there's something about like having zero expectations and just being very like chilled about the situation. And I feel that's exactly how
France played in the second half. They came out actually very level-headed. For a team that was 2-0 down in the biggest game of their lives, they actually did come out very level-headed. They didn't let the game get any more out of hand than it had to. They kept Argentina at least at bay. They at least kept it respectable that if the score still ends 2-0, it doesn't look like the biggest embarrassment in World Cup history. So I think that you have to give them credit there. But then they go one step further, and out of nowhere, a goal ends up coming, and it is a penalty. It is Colomboani, because just like Thuram, like you were saying, he was also kind of providing that threat in behind, that little bit of chaos. Otamendi, who I actually thought played a pretty good game and World Cup up to that point, just really caught in no man's land. And again, in a situation Otamendi just doesn't want to find himself in. They started making Argentina's defenders feel uncomfortable. Otamendi doesn't want to have to be chasing players back at his own goal. He drags down Colomboani. Again, you could debate, is it a penalty, is it not a penalty? I think the correct decision. And all of a sudden, France are handed a lifeline. And I think if you give any player on the planet at that current moment in world football a lifeline, you want it to be Kylian Mbappé.
Yeah. No, you go.
I was just going to say, I think when you debate the two penalties, right, I feel like the France one was a lot more clear cut. Yeah. Because Colomboani's bearing down on goal.
Yeah, and he gets himself in between the ball.
There's no upside for him to go down in that situation because you don't know if it's going to be given or not. You'd rather just take the chance to shoot, hope you score, especially at 2-0 down, than like try and get a penalty and you don't get it.
By the way, how much of an unknown quantity is Colomboani at that point? I remember watching him, like he was doing, I think he was at Frankfurt at that point, but he's not the guy that we know of to this day at this point. He hasn't gone to Spurs yet, he hasn't gone to PSG yet. Yeah, I feel like even from an Argentina point of view, I think he was probably he's a variable that they just had no idea how to deal with, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and maybe that unpredictability helped to a degree. But you make a great point on the penalty, like with Kolo Muani, there's a clear hand on the shoulder, and I think there's a difference between you're inviting me to go down, so I'm going to take the opportunity, and I'm actually going to wait for contact and look for the moment to go down, which I think there's a little bit more of that in the first goal. I will say, though, I do feel a little bit like there's a degree of softness to both, so at least the referee's consistent. The goal, well, the first goal, the second goal, and the Kolo Muani chance when Emi Martinez makes a big save, their ball's over the top, if I'm not mistaken. And you're right, it's making the defenders do the things they don't want to do. So maybe that was a degree. Maybe that was a tactic that was brought up at some point. But
I want to say that they didn't really have to face that, at least in the latter stages, because if I remember, like, who would the Croatian striker have been?
You're looking at I can't even remember who were Croatia's attackers at that point.
I feel like it was more of a
Kramaric? No, was that before?
Maybe but someone will correct.
I agree.
But I feel like it was more of a fate. Then Netherlands was most like Weghorst that they had to
Weghorst
deal
came
with.
on at the end,
And then they play
Australia in the round of 16.
Okay, so it's like you haven't seen a France.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, I feel like the other side of the draw was there was a lot faster teams in terms of how they played. So like you could argue like England had the capability of being fast and having those sweeping moves. Like Portugal with the right players on the pitch, not necessarily. Sometimes if Ronaldo's there, but they have those type of players. Like I say, France, Morocco, like Spain, like all these teams that were on that side of the draw, kind of were in those environments where it was fast, like gung-ho football, and we had those type of matches. Whereas like when I was watching the other side of the draw with like your Brazils and Croatians, they were very like controlled, measured tempo games.
Definitely, especially really Croatia.
And that's why I think, not even to take away from this match, but like Brazil, why they get caught out against Croatia is because Croatia do like the first like really fast movement of the game and catch them cold after they scored and take it to pens. So I think that's what caught Argentina out, because they hadn't seen a guy like Kolo Muani and Thuram and then Mbappe all just flying forward. Like,
it's a lot of pace. It's a lot of directness. Mbappe grabs that goal. At that point, I don't think anyone is really thinking, okay, there's about 10 minutes left on the clock, but it's still like, is it too little too late? Is it just consolation? Is there anything left in this game? Maybe France are going to hope to just spam long balls for the last few minutes to try and get back into it. I don't think anyone in that moment thinks that nearly 60 seconds later, one of the greatest singular moments in the history of football will happen again to that man, Kylian Mbappe. And I think that whole goal, that whole moment, it almost felt like time stopped, right? We talk about the build-up, and Messi loses the ball towards the halfway line. Kingsley Coman, who's come on at that point, wins it off of him. And then that long ball from Rabiot. When the ball is almost just coming down to Mbappe, and Mbappe's looking at it, swooping over his head, falling down. Honestly, as a spectator, as a fan watching from my TV, I felt time slow down. I can't imagine for him what that was even like, right? Honestly, I feel like he probably, in his mind, had so much time to just watch it, make his decision, and then just hit it. It's one of the craziest moments in the sport I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, it's because it's such a huge moment.
Yeah.
Almost you can not really appreciate the great pass and the great finish. Like it's quality. It's absolutely quality. I know we all said it was a great goal, but you're kind of going, oh my God, 1 minute after the 2-1 and now it's 2-2 from 2-0 down and Mbappe, blah, blah. And actually you should stop for a second. It's like, you're right, to let the ball fall like that, so difficult to do. Keep the volley low, pick out the corner. Could easily, again, like we were saying with Di Maria, take a touch, try set himself, but then Emi Martinez got time to think about it.
I think that's the only thing he could have done in that moment to score that goal.
Yeah.
I mean, I think genuinely it's probably like if you add every factor into it, like moment and just like the shit, like everything surrounding it, I think it's arguably the greatest World Cup goal of all time. Not the greatest technically. I mean, like you can say James Rodriguez's volley was better and stuff in 2014, but I'm talking about like you're in a World Cup final, your team's 2-1 down. That's the goal you choose to score. Like it was ridiculous. But this was like I think I tweeted it during the game. It was either during the game or just after the finals. I said, Mbappe, as it stands, is the greatest World Cup player of all time, because like this was just like the tip of the iceberg. Even like his game against like Poland, for example. I'm watching this guy, I'm thinking, you are ridiculous. Like, you can talk about the opposition or whatever. I'm saying, bro, like whoever's in front of you is in trouble. Like they talk about the semi-final, Morocco. He ran them boys ragged.
Yeah.
I'm about like when you actually check the actual highlights, he's just hanging off the back of him. Like he's not actually tackling them. So I'm saying, to not even have a moment to breathe. Like we haven't had a moment to breathe when that goal's gone. The penalty's gone in. We're like, oh, okay, game on. Like, oh, we can sit up a little bit. By the time you sit up, you're like, whoa, it's 2-2.
Yeah.
And Mbappe's celebrating. Like, I'm with you now. Like, and as we could all sit here as, I don't know how far on the Messi side of things you guys were. Yeah. But I know when that second goal went in, there was a large part of me that went, you know what, if I want you to win this game, because that will be a crowning achievement in terms of a footballer, like, in the space of like 20 minutes.
Brother, a player hasn't won back-to-back World Cups since Pelé in 58 and 62. Yeah. That's the last time a team won a World Cup, and it was Pelé who did it. This is the guy who equaled Pelé's record as youngest goal scorer in a World Cup final. He's the guy who's on course to hit all of Pelé's records at World Cup. It feels like we're reliving history. I have a confession to make about this goal, right? I had it spoiled for me. So I'm watching the game with my friend Cam. The goals were, I'm supporting Messi in this game. He's probably more France, but honestly more of a neutral, right? When that Mbappe goal happens, the first one, we're just like, oh my God, wow, this game could be. I didn't get a chance to even react to the second one because he looked at his phone and started screaming, Mbappe, Mbappe. And I'm like, bro, he just scored. He's like, he did it again. And then I'm watching the goal unfold in front of my very eyes. As he's telling me this, I'm watching him grab the equalizer. And again, as someone who was supporting Messi in this final, my whole body almost just like, oh my God. Like
you felt bad?
Not bad, but I was like, oh my God. Like he's actually going to spoil because you have to think about it, right? This World Cup final, there's two people watching this game. There are Argentinians and Messi fans, which there's a lot of the world, and then there's France fans and everybody who doesn't like Messi. So you really sit on either side of the fence. Maybe you sit maybe a little in the middle, but for the most part, I think most people had a preference on the two of them. I sat towards the prior. When that goal happens, I actually thought like, oh my God, this is it again for Messi. Like this is over. It's another big international final that's going to end up in tears.
And he lost the ball.
And he lost the ball. And that moment, I'm like, oh my God, it's over.
And actually,
oh my God, it's over.
Quite poor. Like, he brings it to Coleman.
It's bad.
Like he's just kind of, he's dwelling on the ball. You know, they've just, it's like.
Bro, my whole, when that goal went in, my entire body, I was like, oh my God, it's going to happen again.
But you know what? It's I think, like, obviously in hindsight, like, that they ended up doing it. It's like, it's great. But like, I think in that moment, I was just like, I'm on both your sides. Like genuinely, when both teams were attacking, I'm like, I could literally feel it within myself. Like, oh yeah, go and get a goal. Don't score. Yeah. Like, and then France are going forward. Go and get a goal. Don't score. Like, because I need that Messi picture, but I also need that Mbappe picture. Like, and honestly, it was, at that 2-2 point, you're just like, can football get any better than this? No. Because it's like, again, we go back to saying people say we overrate the game and stuff, right? But like a game that people, let's say, talk about going back to the Champions League, it's like Liverpool versus Barcelona, right? The comeback. But it's a similar feeling, even though Liverpool scored all the goals in that game, but it's like, 1-0, it's like 2-0. Then when they scored the third goal, everyone's like, whoa. Then they scored the fourth goal, and you're like, flipping it, like this is one of the greatest football. So it's like,
but you only felt that.
I like that slow build though. It's like it's like a good movie. Like you get to the third act, and that's where everything
and in this movie we're not even in we're not even in the third act at this point. By the way, we're still in like the second.
We don't know what act we're in. Like, we've not checked the runtime. We've not checked.
No, but at this point, the script is out the window. The script for the play is done. We ripped it up. 80 minutes, we thought this was the script. We thought this is how the movie's going. And then out of nowhere, it's like, oh no, this is the director's cut. He's going to give you a different ending to what you were... And can we talk about that celebration, by the way, from Mbappe? Yeah. That celebration of him just like in pure pandemonium, and then that scream that he unleashes, that is one of the biggest I'm him moments. That goal, the celebration, him looking at the... that all encompasses his legacy right there. That is Kylian Mbappe on top of the world right there. We're talking about Dembele first half when he gets hooked. That's him at the bottom. This is Kylian Mbappe standing at the top of football and just basically saying, I'm here. I've arrived.
Do you know what it is as well? Like, I think we football's obviously a team game, 11 players, right? But what we love is the individualistic nature of the game, and the stars making things happen and changing games, right? So the penalties, we like everyone, most people don't rate penalties, right? It's just like you score them, you got to get it done. Obviously, we'll speak about why Mbappe's ones are like impressive to do in the game, but that goal there to me says that's what I look for. Like every time we've watched the game and we say, right, this team's best player hasn't shown up. This team's best player hasn't been clutch. And he's doing it right in front of your eyes. He's doing it in the space of 60 seconds. Yeah. You cannot, like, at that point, and this game in general just made Mbappe borderline untouchable for me, because I said, you know what? That is the highest stage. I know there's other stages that people will say this. That is once every 4 years. Yeah. There are players who will play in this match and never play at this tournament again. There are players that will never get to sniff a World Cup final again, and you've taken it upon yourself to give those 26 players, is it 26? No, these squads were 26 now. Yeah, 26. 26 players, like a fighting chance to be written in history, a one that you're already on. Because he could easily just be like, I did mine. Yeah, I did mine. I was the boy wonder 4 years ago. Yeah. Don't worry about that. Like, Pogba and them, they'll be back in 2026. We can go get. He said, no, I am that guy. And I think all too often we've allowed a lot of superstars at the highest stage to go missing and go, do you know what? It's just the occasion, or it's just
a team game.
Or you let their teammates bail them out and stuff. But you said, like, at this point, even if Argentina score an 89th minute winner, he did what he did as a superstar of the team. Yeah. And he gave his team a fighting chance. He'll always have my ratings for that.
Yeah, and sorry to jump in, but after that, he was like a man possessed.
But I think the look in his eyes when he celebrated, you could tell he was possessed, bro, honestly.
Yeah, you could. Like, every time I got the ball, I remember him on a few occasions getting the ball, Romero, Molina, whoever it was, getting up to that side, like, just trying to, like, double, triple up. And he was darting through players, like, because I was a bit like you in that I enjoyed the moment to a degree of, like, oh my God, football. Oh my word, what a final. Oh my word, we're going to get 30 more minutes of this. What a moment. But then I was also like, yeah, but I still want Messi to win this. So I'm watching Mbappe and I'm thinking, he's going to win this by himself. Yeah, he's going to, on his own, win this final for them. He was unbelievable. And it's actually crazy because on rewatch, Messi kind of lifted his game as well in that extra time and was making things happen. And you're watching something where you go, these are the two icons of their countries. Like, these are the main men going blow for blow. And I was like, how many times do we talk about games, we go, oh, this player didn't turn up, or that player, the expectation, or people will say to me, oh, what did Henry do in finals? What did Salah do here? And you're like, really, is this the level of combo we're having? Yeah. But you're watching these two and you're going, wow. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
They were the two top goal scorers in the World Cup, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were easily the two best players. And I'm like, what more can you ask for in 90 minutes of play to say, because I know a lot of people were pining for the Ronaldo-Messi World Cup final. Sorry to break it to you, it was never going to happen. Portugal weren't good enough. But this was like, if Mbappe wins, it's a passing of the torch. If Messi wins, it's a ride off into the sunset. That's why for me, I know like you guys are like very much on the Messi must win side of things, but I was like, either way, it's a beautiful story.
Of course,
and it's one that was earned. Because if France had won and say, like, let's say it's Colin Wani who scores a brace or a hat trick and wins them the game, I'm less impressed by Mbappe having 2 World Cup trophies and having taken it away from Messi in that sense. But I'm saying you are personally taking it away from him to create a piece of history that hasn't been done in half a century.
Yeah.
So, or even longer than that. So that's where I see the beauty in it. I can understand, like, if you're entrenched in that.
But you're absolutely right, bro. Because I think too many times, right, when we talk about football, it really comes down to like how much can one player really do when it's an 11-man sport. But that is really what separates great from all-time great. And that's why, for example, my dad's generation will swear by Maradona because they saw him do an 86. It felt like a man on a mission to achieve greatness by himself. And in a way, it's a different style, it's a different way he's doing it. But that's what it felt like Mbappe was doing in this World Cup. And particularly that final. I think people will too often look at Mbappe's final and summarize it as, 2 penalties and a goal. But I don't think people really take into account like the gravity of what he did, bro. In 5 minutes, or not even 5 minutes, in 60 seconds, he flipped the final that his team had no right even competing in to all of a sudden, oh, they're on the precipice of completing the greatest comeback we've probably even seen at this stage. It was absolutely ridiculous. And I think the craziest thing is that this game still wasn't over, even in regular time, because Messi almost grabs a winner in the 90th minute himself, where he darts in and takes a shot from outside of the box. Lloris, amazing save. And from that moment, you're like, oh, wow, we still got 30 more minutes of this. Like, buckle up. Put your seatbelt on. Get your popcorn. This is far from over.
Bro, I needed a breather after that 90 minutes. And it's... One more thing that I'll say about Mbappe. That World Cup, it just reminds me of, like, Benzema when he won the year he won the Ballon d'Or. Just like...
Get on my back, I'll take you there.
Yeah, those man-possessed moments. But, like... Yeah, going into extra time, I got up and like walked around for a second because I was like, "What have I just?"
Yeah, I think everyone
experienced.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm scrolling online to see, it's like everyone feeling what I'm, because I'm watching it like I was in a very chilled environment. I'm just watching it with my family. Like obviously everyone's saying it's a sick game and whatnot, but like it's. I needed to go and be in the football community online and say, like, are we all witnessing what we're witnessing? And as I was conflicted, I could see it. Like people are conflicted, saying like, honestly, may the best man win at this point, or may the best team win.
But I think you're right. No, I think you were right the first time. May the best man win. It genuinely felt in that moment, Messi versus Mbappe. Yeah. And I've always said this. I feel that's the one time in this sport where football has been as close to the NBA as you can possibly get. Where it honestly felt like, yes, it's 5v5, but NBA basketball is really 1 versus 1. It's one superstar versus the other. You don't really get that in football often, as much as sometimes we try and make. It honestly felt like it was Argentina's superstar versus France's superstar. Yeah. And the rest of these guys are just there for the decoration. They're just there to be supporting cast. These two are just going to battle it out. May the best man win.
Do you know what it feels like as well? Like even sticking with American sports, it's like the NFL. Like I remember there was like a playoff game with, I think it was the Bills versus the Chiefs. And it was just Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes, and they're just going crazy, just touchdown for touchdown, touchdown for touchdown. And it was literally overtime, and the regulation, like the rules. They even changed the rules for it because the game was that good, but the way the game ended, they said it can't go like that. And I love football for the fact that it's not like, imagine we had like golden goal. Like golden goal in theory sounds like a great thing because like someone next goal wins it. But I think if there was a golden goal and whatever happens next, like as it happened, we don't look at the game the same way.
No, because now both teams start becoming much more cagey. Exactly. No one wants to concede that goal. Yeah.
So that's why I appreciate the fact that it's okay, cool. You've got another 30 minutes, and after that, then we'll go to the decisive, dreaded spot kicks if we have to. But going into extra time, I said, like you said, best man win.
May the best man win. And to be fair, extra time, Argentina, I think it would have been very easy for them to completely lose their heads, to completely crumble. And in fact, I was almost expecting it. I thought after the 90 minutes, France are just going to run away with this. They have the momentum. They have the legs. They have the thoroughbreds. Argentina looked like a team defeated. But I have to give them so much credit, whether it came from Scaloni, whether it came from Messi. They somehow found just the energy, the unity to come together and say, okay, we had a bad 5 minutes. Let's get back into it. And when you look at the extra time period, it was very even, but Argentina had huge chances to win this game. And in fact, they even grab a lead again through a fantastic bit of play that ends up at the feet of Messi, gets it past the line barely. VAR had to go in and check. In that moment, I thought it hadn't crossed the line. I didn't even want to celebrate, but I think Argentina deserves so much flowers for being able to stay in the game the way they did.
Yeah, I wonder what the message would have been. Probably what you said.
Just
like,
don't lose your mind.
Guys, like, it's only 5 minutes, like you've actually been all over them. Just remember that.
Imagine, James, you for 85 minutes have just battered a team, and in the space of 5 minutes, it's all gone to shit. Yeah. Like, rightly or wrongly, as a team, you are devastated after that.
Yeah, 100%. And, maybe they made some changes. I think I remember Lautaro Martinez coming on, and the chances he missed, like
he could have grabbed the hat trick.
Yeah, in extra time.
Yeah,
like one was blocked, one the header, which he just it's as bad a finish as you see. There's another I think
even for
the
he
takes
Messi
around
goal,
the keeper or tries to, and then
there's that one. But I think even for the Messi goal, he's the one who misses. The first one, right?
You're right, shot at the keeper.
Yeah,
but if I'm not mistaken, I think he has quite a good impact in terms of actually re-energizing a presence up front and giving them something. And on that goal, he does brilliantly with his first touch. That touch, which I think lands at the feet of Messi, then Enzo, or then the three of them combine. I think it's Lautaro to Messi to Enzo, and then it's a brilliant goal. But you're right, they fought their way back into it, and that was in a period of time where it was more even. They did have the better chances, but how difficult is it to commit going forward when Mbappe's doing what he's doing? Because as we were just saying, at that point, I just felt every time he got the ball, something was going to happen. Whether he was going to drag it onto his left foot, cut it across goal, onto his right foot, get a shot, or set someone up for it, he was just on it. It made for a really compelling 30 minutes.
I think the same logic you use for like thinking about going forward when Mbappe's doing what he's doing the other way. The same thing the France players are thinking, like we push forward and Messi gets any kind of yards with runners coming off him, like you're in trouble. So I'm looking at that situation thinking, well, someone's got to like win this game, maybe even on their behalf. Like, was it going to be Lautaro? Was it going to be Thuram? Was it going to be Colomwani? Because at some point you need that stroke of fortune to just put you in that position to succeed. And like whether it's Lautaro's trying to win the game by taking a shot and they take the lead, or it's I'm sure we'll get to the other side of the coin with the France players. But it's still a blur to me. You know?
It is a blur.
Even when I try and think of the game, it's such like a rush of energy. Well, how long was it between the two goals in the extra time?
10 minutes, I think.
Yeah,
it was 109 and 118.
It was about 10 minutes,
118 was it?
I think 109 and 118 were the two goals in extra time.
108, 118 on my notes.
See that? But it didn't even feel like it was right at the end of extra time for me.
But that's because the last 3 minutes of extra time felt like 50 minutes.
Exactly. So it's like...
it did.
So much happened in the last 3 minutes of extra time. It felt like an entire game. Because you got to remember, so Messi grabs his goal, and then France continue going the other way. Mbappe gets another penalty. We'll talk about that with the handball. And by the way, I know we're going to talk about the penalty shootout later, but to put 3 penalties past the best penalty stopper in the game, Emi Martinez, by the way, a man who also felt possessed at that point, just kind of showed you the flow state that Mbappe was in. He makes it 3-3. Then Kolo Muani gets the chance of a lifetime that mars this World Cup final. That is the defining moment, I think, when I think of that final, where Emi Martinez comes huge. Immediately the other way, Argentina go up and Lautaro misses a point-blank header. And then I think the moment that everybody really forgets, but is the most underrated moment of this game, is Kylian Mbappe dribbling one, cutting past, cutting back again, and then seemingly looking like he was going to beat the entire Argentina defense on his own. And little Paulo Dybala, who I think people forget, came on in the 121st minute of that game. And his first action is a last-minute clearance against Kylian Mbappe.
Bro,
I think the full-time whistle blows, and I think everyone just collapses.
When Mbappe did that run, I was on my feet. When the ball got cleared, I was on the floor. And it was just like, because I'm watching a man, I'm saying, like, in that moment, I'm seeing him dribble, and I'm going, if he does the mad thing right now, I'm on the street.
For his fourth goal.
Yeah, I'm on the fourth goal. I'm on the street. Like, I can't, like, I don't care who you're a fan of and who you're not a fan of. To win the game on that run, in like a Messi-esque run in 20th whatever minute it is at that point, knowing it's the last kick of the game, and you even see when they cleared that ball,
you see
how much elation there is in the Argentinian players, because they feared him at that point. Like you can't say they were worried about. They feared him, and even he knew it.
Yeah. What? Did you see his reaction when Dybala cleared it away? Mbappe just starts screaming, bro. He just starts screaming like there's a roar, bro. When we get the penalties, is it... I don't know how you guys feel, but I can tell you, I almost felt Argentina were going to win the game if it went to 3-3.
I knew it.
Yeah, I think when I looked at Emi and when I looked at Lloris, I only really saw one winner between the two of them, because Lloris for me has historically never been a good penalty saver, and Emi Martinez, despite conceding 2 to Mbappe during the game, just felt like he had a mental edge on any single player he came up against. That was even dating back to the Copa America 2 years prior. Then you look at the players on the pitch for both sides. I'm not gonna lie, it almost felt anticlimactic. It's crazy to say that, but it felt like, oh, this is going to penalties and we know who's going to win.
So interesting, because What we talk about earlier? What was it? No, I'm losing track now. But basically, in that moment, you felt that actually it was pretty obvious that Martinez is the better goalkeeper to Lloris. And you were asking me, did I think this was it? You were asking me if at 2-0, did I think there was any way back for France? It's so interesting how you guys saw it logically, which is Argentina in control, Emi Martinez the better goalkeeper. This is probably how it's going to go. Whereas I kind of watched it through the fear of, well, anything can happen. It's only 2-0. And I went into that penalty shootout again with the fear of, what a horrible way to lose this for Messi if he does. By the way, I'm not some Messi super fan. I just think in the same way I need Federer to have the most Wimbledons, I need Messi to have a World Cup, and you're so right. Like you guys saw at the time, in hindsight for me, the penalty shootout, I mean, Martinez is an unbelievable penalty stopper, and you're right about Lloris, and actually the players they had on the pitch as well.
Yeah,
Messi set the tone nicely. I know they say statistically there's no difference between whether you go first or second.
No, so if you go first, I think
they
you
went
have
first,
the advantage.
right? Argentina?
I believe Argentina went first. Yeah, was it?
No,
Mbappe went first.
No,
yeah,
France went first.
Yeah,
Mbappe went first.
Right. Apologies, I've ruined.
But I get it. But it's still the same scenario, because like when I look at it, right, and there's the image of the players like lined up, right, and you've got, I'm looking at I'm seeing Disasi, I'm seeing Kanate, I'm seeing Fofana, Tchouameni, Camavinga. Like I'm not seeing penalty takers, right? And for me, I always look at penalties from like a psychological aspect, right? Where it's like, yes, everyone's good at football and theoretically can kick a ball into a net, but if you know that this keeper, first of all, is doing mind games the whole time, right? And secondly, can get to your penalty if you don't strike it well enough. I think that's how you get to a point where Tchouameni takes the type of penalty that he did, or Coleman does, because you're either going to try and hit it really hard and maybe not get as much direction, or try too hard to put it in the corner and drag it wide, which is what makes Mbappe go. He went left all 3 times, right? It's same corner, same technique, and it just shows that it's like, he is unbreakable, unfazable in that situation.
He's in flow state.
Flow state.
Yeah.
He is that is the definition of a football player being in flow state. Those 30 minutes of extra time, the penalty shootout, and the last 10 minutes of regular time is Kylian Mbappe in a mental state where no one is on his level.
I don't think he remembers it, you know.
I'm sure he doesn't.
Yeah,
I'm sure he doesn't. Right. I'm sure that period is a blur for him.
Yeah. I'm convinced that when he speaks to people about it, he's like, he sees it through watching it back on TV or someone like seeing the clips online. I don't think, like when you're in that moment, how do you, because your brain's no longer operating consciously, right? You're just doing what makes sense to you, because you're, not to take it back, but I'm saying if the ball's in the air and there's no one around you, right? Nothing tells you to volley it from the edge of the box other than the fact that you're a man possessed, right? Or the way he dribbled past those players at the end of extra time, it's just like you're just doing it. So getting to that third penalty in the penalty shootout, it's blank. He's just going through it. And I think maybe when he touches back down to earth is once they've lost the shootout. I think throughout, if they had won that, I don't know when he comes back down to earth, because he's so high up. But like I said, I expect, like, I remember calling it as players were walking up thinking, these France players, they don't look like they're doing too much. I think Tchouameni even spoke about it on his podcast, saying like he was really like how nervous he was, and you'll see players do stuff like bouncing the ball and like moving it around like around their waist and stuff just to like get the nerves out, and then you would just see the Argentinian players, they were like machines. They were just going and putting the ball down, getting it done, and the France players was like they were overcompensating for how much gravity the moment had on them.
Yeah, but you're right about Martinez though. Like the only other one I can think of at the moment in the game, but correct me, Donnarumma. Like just certain goalkeepers where you're right, you've got to do, probably against like 95% of goalkeepers at the level you're playing at, you go, if I hit the target, hit my spot, I'm fine. And then, I'm no penalty expert, but I would just have Donnarumma, Martinez, and if there's any others that you can think of, throw them in there. I just have them in like a caliber of, I can take a great pen and it might not be enough.
Yeah.
And that just puts a different fear. You're right. You're going up with no, I have to be perfect. Because you were saying some of the other pens weren't perfect. The Messi one, whether there's some genius and he waited for Lloris or whatever, maybe, but, felt like Argentina maybe had less to do.
Mbappe grabs the first one, Messi equalizes, and then you get the misses from Tchouaméni and Kingsley Coman. Colomani grabs his, but at the end of the day, it's consolation because Montiel, of all people, and I always feel like it's someone you never really expect or not as memorable that ends up grabbing the winning goal. I think Grosso back in 2006, right? Yeah. But he grabs it, and it's just for me fitting that he gets the winning penalty and people run to him, but the closing image is everyone running to Messi. And just kind of how we started this show, we kind of ended the same way. It felt like just 26 players and a coach fighting to give this guy his moment. And he deserved it as well too, because as much as we talk about Mbappe, Messi had a brilliant game. But Argentina are the 2022 World Cup winners, and the ultimate career that always felt like it had that one little asterisk, that felt like it had that one little blip, was crowned off in the ultimate way. And all the question marks that people may have had, all the buts and the what ifs, were finally answered in that moment. Lionel Messi became a world champion. I got a few categories for you guys. Just some moments that defined the game that I'd like to get from you guys. What do you guys think was the moment of the game? Is it as simple as saying the Mbappe goal? Because for me, I got a different moment. I got the Kolo Muani last minute chance.
That's the moment that sticks out in my head anyway. Like every time I think back to that final, I'm just like,
what if
it was you? Like,
yeah, the fate of the universe felt the Kolo Muani.
Yeah, because like we said earlier that literally after that, Lautaro misses a point blank header, right? But they win the game, so winning washes all, right?
Yeah.
But the world, like, you could do a poll and say, what do you remember from that World Cup final, right? Little idea there to put on social. And you can I think genuinely, like, the majority will say Kolo Muani because it's just imprinted. Yeah. Like Mbappe, yes, you could say he scored a hat trick, but you won't necessarily think the second goal straight away. You won't necessarily think Di Maria's goal, but you just know that moment because that's the moment the whole world in unison goes, what? Like,
I don't think he'll ever live that down, by the way. I think even to this day, he goes to different clubs, it's like, oh, we're signing the guy who missed the chance in the World Cup final.
But I feel like, I don't think he does a lot wrong. Like I think
it's an amazing save.
It's an amazing save. Like he stretches his left leg all the way out and he makes a great connection there. In that moment, like, again, it's coming down. He's just got to strike it truly and hit the target. Yeah. I don't think he does a lot wrong. Like, it's Messi more than played his part in the final, not just the goals. His performance was great. Montiel gets the winning pen. But I think that was the moment that won Argentina the World Cup. And it's that Martinez save. And I prefer to just look at it as the Martinez save.
Rather than the Kolo Muani.
I don't think you can, though.
Do you think Kolo Muani should have scored?
Yes. Because I think really... Like, it's a really great save based on how Kolo Muani took the chance. Because because if he goes low and hard and he's coming out, yes, he can put his leg out and he can make a great save. If Kolo Muani puts any lift on it, there's no way Martinez scores it. But I think he's tried to go safe. That's my issue with it. He's tried to go safe and keep it as low as possible because he doesn't want to sky it because it's bouncing up, right? But really and truly, if you put a bit of lift on it and you go either side of the keeper, I think you've given yourself just as much of a chance of scoring it.
I would agree. If it's kind of like it's hit Emi Martinez like just here or the inner part of the leg, I'd go sure. But because he's like so outstretched, but I get what you're saying. Like,
was there a moment from this game that you guys had forgotten when you watched it back?
I knew the Mbappe equalizer came quickly, but I didn't think a minute. Like watching it back, I was like, oh wow. Also, how's their time for that? Like, you're showing the highlights, you get like halfway line. I don't know, unbelievable.
No, I forgot it was Dembele that gave away the penalty.
Really?
Like, I remember him coming up. Like, honestly, that first, like, part of the game, I was just like, right, France are getting run over. And then I was just thought, oh, Dembele's a sacrificial lamb because he's done absolutely nothing today. But then when I watched it back, I was like, oh, wait, you actually gave away a penalty and you did everything else you did in those 41 minutes. So it's kind of more understandable that he came off. But yeah, literally, until I watched it back this morning, it's just something that slipped my mind.
Yeah.
So that's what I forgot, to be honest.
Man of the match?
Mbappe.
Yeah, Mbappe. I mean, it's true that.
But here's the debate. All right, here's the debate.
Yeah.
Is Mbappe's 30 minutes better than Messi's 120?
I don't think Messi had 120 minutes.
But Messi had, let's say, 90 minutes even. I think Messi's entire game was more complete than Mbappe's, and he grabbed 2 goals.
Also, sorry, we were quite quick to say that, but like Emi Martinez, if you're including, do you include the shootout?
Nah, man.
I mean, I hear it. I think all 3 of them are candidates for man of the match.
No, because I don't. Other than the Colin Moran save, I don't think at any point else.
But that's like saying other than the goals that Mbappe scored.
No. But I was gonna say like that one save saves them the game, right?
Yeah.
But outside of that, considering how we're talking about France in the sense that they didn't have much going forward. So most of the chances that we're talking about, or the key chances that they had, went in. Like he didn't save any of the penalties. He didn't save the volley. It was just that Colin Moran chance and then the penalty shootout. So if we're talking about on the balance of like 120 minutes and the penalty shootout, your front runners are still Messi and Mbappe. But for me, I'll say it's Mbappe because I think there's more value in your team being so inferior to the opposition that you are the difference maker to even take it that far. Because I could genuinely say, you could say, people could argue France were growing into the game, this, that. If Mbappe is not on the pitch, we don't even go to extra time. There's no chance.
That's probably.
And I think that's why I would give him the man of the match.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. The highest level we saw from any player at any moment in that game was Mbappe, I think.
What about unsung hero of the game?
Ooh.
For some reason, my mind just goes Enzo or McAllister. Just like one of those two.
Yeah, they had a big impact, especially in the first half.
Yeah. Probably McAllister.
If I had a France one, to be honest, like I would say Marcus Thuram.
Yeah.
So I think he as much as like a substitution should come and like change the dynamic of a game, I think he really did.
What's the most 2022 thing about this game?
The robe.
True, yeah.
It's got to be in there, because we won't see it before, and we probably won't see it again unless they get the World Cup again in Qatar. So I think for me that was like. Yeah, that and probably the amount of like proper like YouTubers and like streamers I saw at the tournament.
Actually,
Speed.
Yeah.
Speed's the most 2022.
Everyone was there, that's true. Yeah. There's also something about Emi Martinez's like dancing. I'm not going to, but you know, like, his antics is everything.
Look at the fact it was in winter as well too. We're never going to get that again.
Yeah.
Or most likely we're not going to get.
But you know what's beautiful about it? And I guess we'll never get to like experience it unless it goes back there. Especially as content creators, because I wasn't in the content creating space at the time, or like fully like I am now. Like that Qatar World Cup, all the stadiums were so close to each other that everyone could go to every game basically.
One city worked.
There were people who were going to 3 games in one day.
Exactly.
That can't happen at this next World Cup, for example. What's the biggest effect this had on either country going forward?
Ooh.
Or is it maybe too early to tell?
No, I think you can. With Argentina, I think it's solidified them as a powerhouse of world football, because we always knew Argentina were good, but before 2021 and winning that Copa,
they hadn't won anything.
It was that they hadn't won anything. Then they won the World Cup, and it was like, okay, cool. They're the champions of the world. They deserve to be the champions of the world. We see Emi Martinez get nominated for goalkeeper of the year every year because of this.
Yeah.
So
basically.
And then they win the Copa again. So, and then we go into 2026, and Messi's 4 years older than he was at the last tournament, and we're still looking at them like
as a favorite. Yeah.
Well, like maybe not directly number one favorite, but if they get to the final again, are we surprised?
No.
Probably not.
I can't believe he's playing another tournament. Like,
I thought he would have retired.
Yeah, I thought what a way to go out. But
is this the greatest game of football ever?
I don't know.
I do. For me, 100%.
So for me, it is. Sorry, Cara, just quickly. Yeah. For me, it is like I remember watching Pep City and Klopp's Liverpool, for example, and some of the 2-2 games they had, and thinking, I don't know if I'll watch a higher level than this necessarily in terms of two teams going at each other, but. So what? Like it might be the highest level. There might have been a real quality.
It's entertainment, though, right?
Yeah,
it's a spectacle. Is this the greatest spectacle you've seen? Have you ever been more entertained watching a game of football than this?
No, I haven't.
And never in my life.
This is for me the best.
Okay, yeah, because of the rarity of the game and it being a World Cup, I might have to say it peaked there. But I was even thinking of games like last year. We literally had flipping Barca Inter.
That's up
And
there.
I was exhilarated for the whole of that game. So it's like, it's hard to quantify, but I think when I think of the grandiose of the stage and think about how boring World Cup finals usually are. Yeah, no, I think it won't be tough. Like, I don't think this year's World Cup will be final. Will be
if
better.
I ever see a World Cup final like this one, for the rest of my life, I'll be blessed, man. Seriously.
And sorry, you know what else makes it for me the greatest game ever is that take that Barca Inter game. I think you're watching that if you love football, so you're tuning into that game. I was watching it with a friend who loves football and two who were just like, oh, it's the World Cup final, so we'll watch it. And they were absolutely enthralled by it.
I actually feel for anyone who isn't a football fan that watched that, because I think they probably got the wrong impression of what football is like. They probably think this is what football is all.
Yeah.
This is a rarity. To 3-3 penalties, it doesn't happen.
Well, that's how you got to hook them in, man. You got to just show them something they'll never see
probably
again.
the greatest advert for the rest of the world that doesn't watch football that you could possibly have.
But to enjoy it with people who don't always watch football and for them to get caught up in it, you almost sit there, some sort of vindicated as a football fan going, this sport can be incredible.
Yeah, but on the other end of the scale, like, imagine showing someone, like, you're sitting with people that don't watch football, you're showing them the 2010 and 2014, 2006 World Cup finals. They'll be sick to something. They're not watching it again.
Yeah.
Final question. Did Messi need this World Cup to be considered the greatest?
Do you want me to go first?
Go for it.
Messi was the greatest player to ever live at the age of 24. So he didn't all these arbitrary win team achievements, win team trophies and stuff. Yeah, if you want to go into the record books and say, well, Maradona's got one, Pele's got a couple, give Messi one.
Because if we are playing devil's advocate here, right? Every greatest ever player, bar Cristiano, does have a World Cup to their name.
Yeah, but then we will still sit here at the end of Cristiano's career and not put most of those players above him, even though he's not going to win the World Cup.
For a lot of people, the thing that separates him as well too, maybe not to you or to me, but for a lot of people, that World Cup is what's separating him from being
I saw it, and we probably saw it online as well, that as soon as the final whistle blew, all the Ronaldo fans just went.
For a lot of people, they said
that's it. Yeah. Until, well, we don't know if he's even going to play in 2026, but if Ronaldo, that's his last World Cup and Messi's won it, you guys won the battle. Like the last thing
that was
they had nothing left. They had nothing left after that. But I think if we're just talking about general play and the best I've ever, from 2010, 11, I already knew he was the best player to ever live. By 12, it was confirmed.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I didn't need him to win it to believe he's the greatest player ever. To play devil's advocate, though, didn't he retire once for Argentina after a Copa America final?
Like 6 months.
Then he came back. I think they lost another final, or maybe he retired after the second. He's lost 2 finals, I think.
No, but he lost. It was because he lost 3 finals on the bounce. He lost the World Cup final. Then they did the Copa in 2015, and then they did another Copa in 2016.
And they lost in 2007 as well too. Right. So he had failed numerous. Argentina had failed numerous times under his watch.
So the question of did he need it? Not for me, but it's also not for me to tell like Argentinians what they needed. Good point. And maybe for that side of things, he needed it. For whatever that resolved and whatever that settled in terms of conversation debates, that's up to other people. But I'm with you. In 2011, 2012, I thought I'll never see a better player than this ever. I don't think.
I think and just to dovetail on that, I think him winning those 2 international trophies back to back helped him make peace with the country, because like, for those old enough to remember, like in his early parts of his Argentinian career, like they were basically saying he's not Argentinian, he's a Spaniard, he's Barcelona, like go over there, like you'll never be Diego. Part of why he retired as well, they knocked down his statue in Argentina. These are things that we forget that get washed away with the winning, but him doing that, as long as it took him to do it, it was vindication of his career and the rubber stamp that even in his own country, they have to respect him the same way they respect Diego and all the others before him that put stars on their chest. So, yeah, I think for him and for feeling at home, I think he needed it.
The crowning moment of the greatest player we may have ever seen. World Cup 2022, the best game I've watched, maybe the best game my fellow guests have watched as well too. Thank you guys so much for being here with me to go across this journey. I've really enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed at home as well too. Guys, make sure you share, like, subscribe, all of that good stuff here on Rematch. We will have more content for you coming very, very soon. I've been Lias, and we'll see you soon. Peace.